Hi guys, welcome back to another video. This is gonna be a little late night chit chat right now. I feel like this video is gonna end up being what I read in a week. I've been talking about this book, how I'm gonna read this book, and I've had this book already for like 5 days and I have yet to touch it, but I'm going to read some of it today. I really tried really hard not to buy the audio, but honestly, this book is not intriguing me that much and I'm not gonna be able to sit through and read this book on my own within a week. So I'm gonna listen to the audio so that I can get this done. And I also want to try to read like 3 books in 1 week. I had other books I wanted to read, but my manager let me borrow this one, and so it's like, well, my manager brought it to work and obviously that means she wants me to read it, so I'm gonna read it. It just kind of put my other books on hold that I was excited to read. Also, going from, because I did look up what this book is kind of about. It's called Archer's Voice, and basically what I heard that this is about is like, he has a disability but you don't know what it is really. And this girl, she moves to this small town, I think, and basically she just, you know, hears about this guy and doesn't know why he doesn't talk and stuff, and just like asks around and tries to understand why he doesn't. And I think they end up falling in love, and it has to do with trauma. Hopefully it's still a happy ending, because that's all I care about at the end of the day when it comes to romance, and romance is also the only thing I read. I do want to kind of try to get into dark romance. There was, let me find it. I kind of regret the Twisted series being like the first book series for me to actually read through, because I don't think any book series will ever be better than that. I've been thinking about it still, and I read it about a week ago. I'm never gonna stop talking about it. I don't think anyone understands my love for those books, truly. Literally picture myself every single day playing Jules, and I've said that a million times, but I can't not think of it. So if y'all turn it into a show, you know who to look for. I'm gonna post a self-tape on YouTube. Just kidding, guys. I'm just kidding. I'm literally just obsessing over it. Like, I hyperfixate over things that I really like, and it takes a lot for me to like not talk about it. Like Twilight, the first Twilight movie came out in 2008 and I will never stop talking about it. Also, I was like 5 or 6 when that came out. I don't think I watched it until the 3rd movie came out, and then I went to go see the last 2 in movie theater. We all know our reaction when we went to see Breaking Dawn Part 2, which I was about to start watching Twilight because I was in the mood for something comforting. I just watched Ricky Stenicki, and it was actually really funny. I've never necessarily been a fan of John Cena. My dad was, because he liked WWE, but I was never like oh my gosh, I have to watch John Cena. But he carried, and I thought Zac Efron would, but he definitely carried, and it was hilarious. I have a few things in my Amazon cart. Okay, so I want to buy all the white Twilight books because I only have a few of the black ones. I have missing ones. I've loaned them when I was, because I had those when I was a kid. Like, I looked at the date of when I wrote in them and it was 2010. I just want to get the white copies, and I will read them. I just like to have, you know, I like my books to be worn out and, you know, have a little spine broken, which this spine is not broken, so I will not be bending the freak out of this book as I would do my own. Okay, so Love Wager is one book I want to read. I forgot what this book is about. There's a whole bunch of books that I came across that are like what to read. Oh, I think this is like online dating and one person knows and the other person doesn't know. I don't know, something like that, but I remember that intrigued me. Too Hot to Handle is a book series. I am gonna get probably the ugly book cover of it. It's because it's only $8. The other one's $12. So I will sacrifice the ugly book cover for that. A book is a book at the end of the day. Oh, okay. So the dark romance book that I wanted to read is The Haunting of Adeline, and also Does It Hurt? I know there's a lot of trigger warnings and stuff. I don't know if I'll be ready to actually read that, but I want to give at least one of them a chance. I just need to know if they're a happy ending. Can someone tell me if there's actually a happy ending, and I will read either of those 2 books, Haunting of Adeline or Does It Hurt? Or should I not waste my time? Please let me know. Like I said, it's really hard to move on from the Twisted series. I am absolutely obsessed with that author. I'm gonna read more of her books, honestly. Please read those books if you have not yet. And if you haven't and then you are going to buy them now, please come back to this video and let me know what you think of them. And also, if it does become a show, I hope it's giving Bridgerton, because that show's eating. Queen Charlotte, eating. But yeah, so I'm gonna start with this book, and then I believe the next book I'm gonna try to read is, I think I want to read Icebreakers, because I have high hopes for that book and I think it's gonna be really good. I have like a good feeling about reading that I think I'll actually like, so I think that'll be smart. But I might actually like this. I probably shouldn't listen to people's opinions, but I also heard that it's written kind of similar to Colleen Hoover. Please don't come for me. I don't know. Also, the way they're doing the new movie, It Starts With Us or Ends With Us, whatever one. So I heard like the way that they were written in the book, and I guess like people had some fan casting and they were not happy about Blake Lively and the guy from Jane the Virgin playing the 2 main characters because they're older, and that's not what they pictured. I will say I do think that BookTok and people like fan casting are a little toxic. I've said that because yes, I'm like joking about like playing Jules because she's a white redhead in the book, but I'm a black redhead. I still feel that way though. Like if given the opportunity to play her, I 1000% would. Nothing would stop me. But I understand when people fan cast, you want to fan cast a white redhead. But like I said in my last video, casting the redhead from Riverdale, I believe her name is Madeline, or Bloom from that show Winx saga, as if those are the only two redheads in the world. It's really interesting to me. Also considering that Jules is written to be a thick girly with big boobs and a butt. Okay, next. I've literally mentioned that already, and I'm sorry I keep bringing it up. But like I said, I'm new to the reading world, and just seeing how toxic that whole thing is crazy to me. I'm not joining into that. I'm not gonna start now. It doesn't seem like any of them are happy. I'm happy over here with the Twisted series. Anna Huang, I'm happy with you. You keep slaying, please. If you turn any of your books into a show or a movie, please, I will take a sideline character, anything. I just want to be a part of it, that is all. But anyways, right now I'm watching Wolverine. This one is, X-Men's Origin. It actually is a comfort movie for me, honestly. I'm not like a super like Marvel fan. I only recently became like more of a Marvel fan, but it's really just because like I'm a fan of Spider-Man, and I kind of always was a fan of Spider-Man. I just always liked the characters on DC a little bit more. That's just who I happen to like, but I think it's because that's what my dad liked growing up. And Flash is my favorite superhero of all time. Also another character, if I could play her, I would like to play Iris. My hair is already in fact red, so if we actually turn it into a movie, because that Ezra character needs to go, that movie needs to never see the light of day again, and they need to cast a new Flash. And okay, this is getting sidetracked. Wolverine, okay, we're gonna say it. Wolverine is like, it's such a comfort show, or a comfort movie for me. I literally love it. It's so basic. People like the X-Men like characters and stuff, like all the, you know, what are they called? Are they just called the X-Men? Like all those people, they like the group and stuff, you know, Mystique and everything, which I do like X-Men Apocalypse. But for some reason, if I'm gonna choose a movie, I'm gonna choose Wolverine's backstory. I love it every time. It's so comforting to me. I'm gonna talk about fan casting again. The Rapunzel fan casting, I've had it up to here. Love Florence Pugh. I literally said if I had the opportunity to work with her, I 1000% would. She seems like such a sweet person. But why are they trying to cast her as Rapunzel? I don't care what ethnicity she is, as long as her hair glows. That's all I care about. Because obviously, typically Rapunzel's hair would be brown, but in the Disney version, the whole premise is because of that flower. That's why her hair glows. So people always try to cast Milo as Ryder, which no, I'm not against that, honestly. I will say he still has like a very youthful like touch to him, not in the sense of like it's a bad thing. It's like, it's just not in the maturity that I would like to see Flynn as, like how he is portrayed in the cartoon movie or animated movie. How he acted in Prom Pact, unpopular opinion again, that was such a good Disney movie for no reason. I hope they do make a Prom Pact too, because it's so cute and adorable for no freaking reason. But how he acted in that is how I envision the Flash. And honestly, I think he could play the Flash very well. I think he could. The Flash is like in his early 20s. I think he could play in his early 20s. It's just different kind of characters, and I think that the Flash would be perfect for Milo. Also, they're making a Zombies 4. Listen, I loved the first one. The other two, we're not gonna talk about those. It's just kind of crazy that we didn't get a, okay, I know we didn't get Camp Rock 3 because of Demi Lovato, 1000% understandable. I'm glad she's better than ever. High School Musical 4 though, why did we not get 4 High School Musical movies? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? We're getting a Descendants 4, why? Why? That is, it's kind of giving disrespectful, honestly. I liked the first and the second one. Of course, the first one's superior, but the second one wasn't bad. I honestly liked it. The third one, I just could not take it seriously. It was just not giving. High School Musical, and the thing is like, because the first one was so good and the music was so good and everything about it, I thought that it would just uphold its like, you know, its greatness like High School Musical did as the movies went on. Of course, High School Musical 2 is superior, but I'm not gonna lie, High School Musical 3 sometimes, depending on my mood, is better than the first one, sometimes. But they're all just so very much enjoyable, and I have not watched a series where like a Disney series where all 3 movies are good. The High School Musical is ahead of its time. I think about it constantly. Vanessa Hudgens, I'm so happy for her. I'm so happy she got her happy ending, truly. She's glowing. She just looks beautiful. I'm happy she's gonna be a mother. I'm sure that's all she's ever wanted. And she's 35, I believe, which is like the perfect age to be a mother. I'm so happy for her. Oh, so happy. And, you know, also happy for Zac Efron. Happy that he's in some movies and stuff nowadays. And also happy that people are done hating on his appearance, because no one should be hating on anyone's appearance. Honestly, that's just how I feel about that, babes. But if I did have to choose what movie's gonna become like a live action movie right now, okay, I don't even know. It would be okay, my like favorite two like musical princess like Disney movies, I'm gonna go Tangled and Princess and the Frog. I can't choose. It just depends on my mood on which one I like more. But I genuinely love both of them. It's just something about them that I just love. I think growing up I used to like Pocahontas and Mulan, but then I kind of learned like a lot of things wrong with it that I didn't realize was wrong. Same thing with Aladdin. And so like the older I got, I kind of enjoyed the other ones more. They make a lot of black characters into objects or animals for more than half of the movie. Don't get me wrong, they all eat soul. In a way was so sad, but it ate down bad. It's just, I can't explain that movie. But he was like a ghost thingy. He was a soul for most of the movie. Princess and the Frog, she was a frog 75% of the movie. Also, people keep fan casting Naveen as a black man. That man is Indian. Did y'all hear his name? That is a brown man, and not a black brown man. Indian brown man. Nonetheless though, I still thoroughly enjoy Princess and the Frog. It's just so good. I can quote the whole movie. Absolutely love it. I dressed as her for Halloween in a little cheap Amazon costume because I just had to. She's just everything. I was gonna say if I had to choose, it would be between those two. The thing is Cinderella is absolutely hands down the best princess movie. Like, I have yet to see like another like Disney princess movie be made like that, and it just be like, it's just so good. I just can't explain how much I love that movie. And honestly, I feel like it wasn't even like talked about enough when it came out, because it wasn't that it wasn't giving Disney, it just wasn't a lot of singing like we're used to in the newer Disney movies. Of course there's a little bit of singing, but it just wasn't giving the same like how like we're used to all the songs and stuff in the animated versions. But I gotta say, it was still made so perfectly, so beautifully, everything about it. Love Lily James. I actually know the first thing I've ever seen her in was Fast Girls. Any girl in a sport in high school, we all watched that movie. We all watched it, and it was a good movie. At least I remember it being good. I learned who she was, and when I saw that she was playing Cinderella, it just made me happy because I was like, oh my gosh, like a nice big breakout role for her. I really wanted to love Beauty and the Beast. The things that it was being hated on for, I actually didn't notice it until someone said something. That's not why I didn't enjoy it. It just, okay, Beauty and the Beast, there's already so many things wrong with that story when you actually think about it. Isn't that like Stockholm Syndrome, kind of? Unless I don't know what that actually means. When you think about it, it's just not, it's actually not a cute love story at all. Cinderella is just so good. I did say like, why did they choose that guy as the prince? Like, who is he? And I watched Game of Thrones and I was like, okay. It was kind of just like, oh my gosh, she looks stunning and he's there. But it's also just because like I'm for the girlies, I'm not really for the guys, so I don't really care about him. But they had good chemistry. It was really cute. I absolutely love it. My name is Kit. But if they can make another wonderful movie like that, I will be all on board for that. But also, talking about that guy, that brings me to Eternals. I just rewatched it again. Personally, like I said, I don't know a whole lot about the Marvel world. I don't even think I watched Endgame. No, I definitely did not watch it. I did really like Captain America Civil War. I really liked that one. There was like a few, I don't even know if I've ever seen any of the Iron Man movies. Yeah. I've seen a few of them. I think I've seen the first Avengers, which was obviously like over a decade ago, I'm pretty sure. It came out in like 2012. I watched Eternals and personally I really liked it. People might say you only liked it because you're not a fan. That may be true. But as someone on the outside looking in, I really enjoyed it. I didn't know what to expect. I feel like no one really knew what to expect, and it ended up being better than I thought. Obviously there's room for improvement, but personally I really enjoyed it. Come to find out, they're not making a second one. Barry Keoghan is like popping right now, which that's the first thing I personally have seen him in was Eternals a few years ago. And he's popping now because of Saltburn. People will go see that if he's in it. They're just not putting enough faith into us. The girlies are gonna go see Eternals. It was so good. The couple on there, Barry Keoghan and the one girl, I don't remember her name. Is it Nakiri? but their chemistry ate every time, and they weren't even the main characters, but I need more screen time of them. But that also brings me to other things being canceled, or should be canceled. Scream. Scream is absolutely, I'm sorry, every time I talk about a show, I think about casting myself in it because, again, I literally want to be an actress, which is partially why I'm trying to be an influencer as well. Not to give me, like, clout to do it, but maybe financially help me, honestly. And that's just me being transparent. But Scream is actually one of my favorite horror franchises of all time. I'm new to the horror world. There's a lot of things I'm new to, okay? We're finally not only watching Twilight, we're watching other things. I used to be scared of horror stuff growing up, but now I'm not. Scream will hold a special place in my heart because it's what made me start to like it. I need to go and watch all the Halloween movies because I've seen like random ones throughout my childhood, but I just don't remember like them, like what happens in them. So I want to go back and watch it. Personally, I was a fan of the Scream show. I enjoyed it. I only watched the first 2 seasons. I didn't watch the third because I think they recasted everybody or whatever, a new cast. The first 2 seasons though, chef's kiss, so good, loved it. If they made another Scream show, hello, I can scream. I personally would love to be like a horror actor. I know it's hard to get out of that once you start that, but if Jenna Ortega can do it, so can I. Nonetheless, it's literally one of my favorite franchises, but I am not happy with what is going on right now. Melissa Barrera was fired for supporting Palestine, and that is just so crazy to me. Then we have people like Noah Schnapp, still probably going to be in the last season of Stranger Things, which no one cares about him anymore. And like Melissa literally is supposed to be our final girl. Personally, did not hate her as much as everyone else did. In the 5th one, way too much hate. Way too much hate in my opinion. Are we going to act like the acting in the previous Scream movies were like amazing? I love Emma Roberts and she's absolutely one of my favorite Ghostface. But she was not the best actor in Scream 4. I know some of you guys are not ready to hear that, but her acting in that, for a lot of the parts, were not giving. I think her best acting part, in my opinion, was the end of the movie when she was setting up the false ending in the house, but then it ended up being in the hospital. That whole ending of that movie, that part of the movie, was her best work. Obviously, American Horror Story Season 3, amazing work in that, but Melissa just getting so much hate for her acting and stuff like that when I've seen worse in the Scream franchise is just so crazy to me. Nonetheless, there was room for improvement. She slayed in season 6. She said, y'all are not going to talk about me. Y'all are going to remember my name and I'm going to be your final girl. Personally, I think that Sydney's story ended in Scream 4. And the only reason why she came back to Woodsboro was because Dewey in Scream 5, which, as sad as that was, I was kind of happy that one of the legacy characters went. Saying they're not disposable just wasn't giving. Also, the nostalgia of it all, like, I like Gail Weathers. I know she's a fan favorite, but I've always liked Dewey a little bit more, but it just depends on, I feel like, your personality, which one, if you're Dewey, if you're Gail. I still personally liked Gail. I would have liked to see her in Scream 6. I would have liked to see that because I think it would have been such a good, I mean, Dewey's already gone. Like, no, they weren't together, but in my eyes, they were still soulmates. Okay, she survived. In Scream 7, Neve Campbell was not in Scream 6 because she wasn't getting paid enough. Understandably, she wasn't in Scream 6. At first, I was upset that she wasn't, but personally, I kind of liked it that way. I don't think it would have made sense for her to come back, personally. Gail being in New York and them going to New York, that all made sense for Gail to be in it. Honestly, I'm not going to go support this movie nonetheless, and I didn't think that Neve Campbell would take it. We all knew what was going to happen. We knew that once you fired Melissa and Jenna quit the next day, people were like, well, she's quitting because she's doing Wednesday. She was supposed to have a little bit of screen time that would have worked with her Wednesday schedule. I have no interest in going to see the new movie. And what is his name? Patrick Dempsey, the officer in Scream 3. I do like that him and Sidney Prescott are together, but it just doesn't matter at this point. If Spyglass isn't going to sell it to like Paramount and rehire Melissa, because yes, I love Jenna Ortega. She is the reason I really was even interested in still watching the Scream franchise. She is the reason that it is where it is right now. It's having this resurgence and new fans and stuff, and not just nostalgia. Being like how Casey Becker was, like Drew Barrymore. She actually survived and became a final girl with her sister. It's gonna end at Scream 6 for me, honestly, unless Spyglass sells it to Paramount and then they rehire her. Melissa. And then, you know, if Jenna ends up coming back, which we don't really need Jenna to come back, I feel like I would rather have Melissa come back. Love Jenna Ortega. She's really such an amazing actress, and she has so much like time ahead of her. But personally, like I think Melissa's a little bit more necessary, and people might disagree with that, and that's understandable. But I don't think we were done with their characters yet, and people are saying that. But I'm like, I disagree with that. Also, I found out that Stumacher was supposed to come back in Scream 3, which would have been so iconic, and that's probably why they only end up having one Ghostface. That's like so crazy. Can we have another, like, you know, franchise of a final girl? Not choosing myself, but maybe it's time to start a new franchise. Maybe. Someone needs to take a chance. I'm sure people have tried to pitch it, but someone needs to take a chance on one. They need to understand that the horror genre, we want a new franchise. At least I do. I'm going to have to cure my love for Scream by watching other horror stuff. So if you have any recommendations of stuff that you like, please let me know. I feel like how I view shows and movies and stuff is how people like view music, and that's how I wish I viewed music, but I don't. So it is the next morning, and I had a lot of assumptions about this book, and I should have not listened to anyone on TikTok. I did not think I would like this book as much as I am so far. I'm only 85 pages in, and it's actually really adorable. It is so cute so far. It was so hard for me to want to read it because I went based off of what people said on Snapchat. My thoughts were from people's opinions that I heard on TikTok, and so I thought I would not like it. But honestly, it's a vibe, and it's so cute so far, and honestly, I'm really enjoying it. I really like it. Like, I shouldn't have listened. It's 5:46. My goal is to honestly finish this book today. Who was gonna tell me that this book has a little spice in it? Little bit of a jump scare. Don't get me wrong, that's usually what I like to read. I eat it up every time, but not when I don't expect it. Yeah, okay. I just read chapter 19. That was an interesting scene with his cousin. His cousin is something else. I don't think he's a good guy. I don't know what his character is gonna end up being, but like, he wasn't a good guy as a kid, and I don't think he changed as an adult. I don't like cheating in books, but in my opinion, I don't really think this is cheating. It's such a tricky, like, it's not that it's like not cheating, but it's like, the best thing that Archer can do is be honest. Yes, he was like a little manipulated into like going to the, strip club. But like I said, all he can do is be honest and explain, because he doesn't necessarily fully like know any better. It's not that he's not smart. He just didn't experience life and stuff like that, and he didn't have a figure like an adult figure in his life teaching him certain things that you should be taught by parents, which I can relate to that. I'm on page 185. I'm gonna still try to keep reading, and hopefully I can get to like page 300 before I go to sleep. It's 11 o'clock. I'm gonna try to get to page like 300. There's 388 pages. I'll read the last 88 tomorrow. I just bought the book The Nanny, so I have a feeling that I'm gonna read that book. But it is supposed to be like cute and lighthearted, I believe. So I also bought The Haunting of Adeline. So if that book comes tomorrow, I'll read it, but if not, then I won't. But I do know that is like gonna be like my first like dark romance. I think that's the genre of it. So like, I'm gonna have to read like, something a little lighthearted beforehand and a little bit lighthearted after. But I'm very excited. But yeah, this book is actually really good so far. I did not have high hopes for it, but I was wrong. I actually am enjoying this. Some of it is like not supposed to be funny, but it's just kind of funny to me. Okay, seriously, let's finish this, and so I can come back with my final thoughts on this. I was just so surprised by that chapter. I was like, okay. I'm at the scene where Archer just got dropped off by his cousin, and he's at Bree's house. So we're gonna see if he tells her what happened or what.
Borderline murderous thoughts when two muscular arms wrap around my waist, brushes my hair from my face, and smile the moment you're in. His smile widens when he realizes he's got me. Okay? Yeah. What the hell is going on? Ignoring my immediate.
Okay, so I finished Archer's Voice this morning. I ended up really liking it more than I thought I would. This book basically is just about a girl. She goes through something traumatic and she moves to this small town to get away, and she has a lot of trauma, so she's trying to become normal again, and so she moves away. There's this guy named Archer and he doesn't talk, and she doesn't understand why, and no one else really knows why either, but she ends up befriending him, unlike everybody else. Just being mean for no reason, and she kind of just learns about him, and he finally ends up telling her what's going on. And obviously, you know, it's a love story, they end up falling for each other. There is spice in here. I did not realize there would be some spice up in here. It was good, it was fine. It's not the kind of spice that you would, okay, it is the spice that you think, but the way it starts off is very different than what I expected because of Archer's character. You usually see like when it comes to like sexual things, it's usually the woman who's never done it, and that's how they I mean, it's not in real life, I mean like in movies and stuff, in books, it's the woman who is the one who hasn't done any of that stuff, but this time it's the guy. This book was very enjoyable. I thought it was about trauma bonding, but also what people tell me trauma bonding is, I don't think actually is trauma bonding, so I did have to look up what that meant. They both have trauma, but just because they both have trauma and they're like, they end up having a bond with each other, that doesn't mean trauma bonding. I thought when I was like towards the end, I thought he was unalived. But then I kept reading and I was like, oh, he's in a coma. I was like so confused, but I was like low-key gonna cry. Like, why are you so sad? I did not think I'd be so invested in this. I was honestly gonna be really sad, but it ends up being like a happy ending, which I was really glad. I was gonna look up if it was gonna be happy or not, because like I would like a happy ending book, but I did not. I didn't look it up. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take the risk. I'm not even super like invested, but you know, actually I am. I'm invested now, but when I went into reading this, I was not invested. Some of the writing for me was a little cringy. I'm not above cringe. I like cringe. Y'all should see my TikTok account. Please don't ever look at my TikTok account. Like I said, I'm not above cringe, but it wasn't the kind of enjoyable cringe for me, some of it. It was more like, it was kind of just like, it was kind of funny, but it wasn't supposed to be. It's just like a little cringy for my liking. Overall though, I still liked it. I enjoyed it. The relationship just felt like it took a little bit for it to happen, but when it happened for me, it was just too quick of a relationship. It almost feels like this could even be 2 books. It was still very enjoyable, but it just felt like once they started a relationship, it was just really fast. Like, for me personally, I think it should have went a little bit slower. I'd probably give it a 3 out of 5 stars. I'm on to my next book now, but the next book I'm gonna be reading is Iceberg? Okay, the next book I'm gonna be reading is Icebreaker. This is the book that was trending on TikTok a little while back when people did not think it was gonna be very spicy, considering the cover of this book. I've never read like a sports relationship type of book. I was contemplating on getting Wildfire, but I did not. I was like, I think I should read this book first before I get any of her other books to see if I like it. But I do have very much high hopes for this book. Considering this is just like a lovey-dovey romance, why is there 432 pages? Sorry. I hope it just doesn't drag out, but like I said, I am still very excited though. I have high hopes for this book. So we're about to start reading this. I'm gonna try to read this today and tomorrow so we can get this done so that I can read a 3rd book. Y'all. I just read chapter 8. This man is weak. This girl is also weak. They are weak for each other. But I'm eating up how weak he is, for real. I'm pretty sure by the time I get to like chapter 10, it's about to be spiced up if it's not already happening right now. Also didn't know it's like dual or duo POV. I don't know what that's called when there's 2 different point of views, if there's like a specific term for it. But I absolutely love it. I guess that doesn't help that when I first started reading that a lot of the books I was reading were 2 point of views, unless books are just always like that. Once I read my first book like that, I can't undo it now. It's just like, I will obviously read other books, but it just doesn't hit the same. That's all I read so far, and then I had to go to work, and I just got off. Gotta eat some Buffalo Wild Wing cauliflower wings. Obviously, they're not really wings, but they're still really good. I got honey garlic and sweet barbecue. I'm gonna eat these, keep reading, and hopefully by tomorrow, it might have to be after work. I'm gonna try to read up until I go to work tomorrow. I'm like on a mission because it feels like I started this vlog like 5 days ago, but it took me so long to read Archer's Voice, and then once I read it, I basically did it within a day. It just took me so long to read it because I think I read like 10 pages in 3 days, and then but then finally I just sat there and was like, okay girlie, let's sit through this book and read it. I just want this video to be done, so this is my motivation for me to read, is to get this video up in like 3 days because it's already been almost a week since I posted, and I'm trying to post once a week at least. They jumped in quick. This was quicker than I thought, which is interesting that the book is so long. I didn't know that this is a book series and Wildfire is the second book. I have a feeling this is going to be another book I won't be able to move on from. I had to put my hair up because this book's getting hot. Also, if anyone's becoming a writer and you come across this video by some random chance, if you want me to be your muse, let me know. Let me know. Me, I don't give main character vibes, but I can try. Guys, this is so Grumpy Sunshine. I'm on page 119, back to Nathan's point of view, but they just got back from a party, that whole Uber drive. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Bold, real bold. Then when they went back to the room, he said, actually, I don't want to sleep with you. I want more than that. And she said, sorry? She said, huh? This man, this is so like Sunshine Grumpy, and she's the grump and he's the sunshine. And I am in fact eating it up. I feel like girls get hated on when they're the grump, and then like for Twisted Love, like Alex, he gets a lot of praise because he's the guy and he's the grump, and then Ava's the sunshine. But I eat this up just as much when the girl is the grump and the guy is the sunshine. I mean, she's a figure skater who might go to the Olympics, so she don't have time for a relationship, so I get it. Okay, so it is the next day. I finished this book in 24 hours, which is a record for me again because it used to take me like damn near a month to finish a book. But I'm so glad I've joined BookTok and I'm trying all these different books out. Okay, so while I was reading this in the very beginning, I thoroughly like really enjoyed it, but some things were kind of icking me out a little bit. The baby and the bub needed to go. They needed to go. I'm not gonna lie. Who in college is saying that? Anyone in their 20s who is saying that? Overall though, I did enjoy this. Honestly, I would probably recommend this. I will say the smut in this was way better than Archer's Voice because it was pretty uncomfy in Archer's Voice. When I read smut, I don't really want to read one where it's about like one of them has never done anything like that before. Just not my cup of tea. Archer's Voice was just a little uncomfy. I did like this book. In my opinion, if you're reading a book and you don't need a plot, I would recommend this. I will say this book is honestly pretty thick considering. There were certain things that I wish we would have gotten more on considering how long this book is. Like towards the end, it was just like a very long epilogue in my opinion. Some of the characters, Aaron, we did not dive into his character enough. That man is a menace, but also I would like to know more about why he was doing the things he was doing and why he was that way. He wasn't just that way, not trying to justify anything he did, but there was no backstory to it. And also we didn't find out if he actually liked Anastasia or not. Like we didn't, I wanted more. Like, again, I enjoyed this book. I just wanted more in other departments than what we got. That would have made me enjoy this even more. I would have just liked to know about certain characters. Like Ryan, that man better get his own book. I just found out, I ended up buying Wildfire. I found out that this is like a series that she's doing, and then I found out that there's going to be another book, a third book coming out sometime. It doesn't say the release date on it, but it's called, because Henry in this book, we literally love him. We'll get back to Ryan in a second, but Henry, absolutely love him. And I was literally planning on talking about how I think he needs his own character like book, because I was just like, absolutely love him. He is everything. Loved him. Oh my goodness. Okay, so it's called Daydream. I will put up like a little picture of the book cover of it. It's so cute, but I was like, oh my goodness, we need a book with Henry, his love interest. And The comments made me so happy. Okay, two things under the the videos that I've seen in the comments. The ones that kind of annoyed me was they said they didn't expect Henry to be light-skinned. They expected to be a quirky little white boy. And I was just like, oh, why can't it be a quirky light-skinned guy? Like, and especially because it says he's brown in the book. Like, I think people tend to forget what people look like when they're a person of color in a book. I'm new to reading, but it just seems like that's what's happening in books that are predominantly white, but like they think that no other ethnicity exists because it literally says that JJ is a brown man. It says that he is Indian and the food he cooks. And people are casting him as a white guy with blonde hair. How did we forget that? It just seems like all of a sudden people forget when it comes to that. But besides that, the girl that they are making his love interest, she is beautiful. She is 5'9", I believe, and she just has like a, not that skinny isn't a normal body type, it's just we do get smaller skinny like type figures a lot in books, but she just has like just a regular like a more average body that we don't see enough, and it just makes me so happy because people in the comments are saying she looks like me, and it makes me happy, and that makes me happy for them because, as I've been saying in this video, I would like to read a character where they look like me. Not that I can't enjoy books like this. It just, you know, it makes it a little meaningful once in a while. But I'm sure there is characters who are written like me where it's just like a smut book. But again, all the books I've been reading have been like recommendations on TikTok and I haven't seen any. There was one series that I'm contemplating on reading, but it's like Mafia and I don't really know if I want to read Mafia. I want something more along the lines of like this, or like the Twisted series where there's a black love interest in that. I absolutely think that Twisted series is the best smut I ever read so far. Like, yes, I'm new to reading, but nothing has topped it yet. This was a little bit Wattpad maybe. Not in a terrible way, but it's like I just read better. But Ryan's character, whatever happened to Ryan's character? Like, that man just went poof. He fell off the face of the earth. I honestly enjoyed his character. I wish we got more of him, but I genuinely hope he gets his own book because he seems like a good guy and was just forgotten. It's just a little bit of my opinion. Them having, what? I think they have 2 babies and she was pregnant within 2 years. Like they had a baby and then she was pregnant. And in the 2-year jump. That's crazy. I think that's way too soon in a relationship. Not that it's really ever necessarily in this day and age a perfect time to have a baby, let's be honest. But maybe we might date a wee bit longer before we start popping out babies. Waiting on a book to come in and that I got from Amazon. I also got the audio for free on Libby. I'm going to wait until I get off of work tonight. I'm going to let my mind just, you know, take a break from reading. Okay, so it is the next day. I ended up finishing this last night, but I was too tired to film anything. I literally fell asleep as soon as I finished this book. Okay, out of all the 3 books that I've read, Icebreaker, The Nanny, and I also read Archer's Voice. I expected to like Icebreaker the most, and I expected to hate Archer's Voice the most, or like I expected not to like it as much. I think I like Icebreaker and Archer's Voice equally because they both gave me the same amount of icks, but there was also the same amount of enjoyable parts in the books. But this one, in my opinion, was just a little overhyped. The Nanny was a book that I also obviously got recommended on TikTok. This one was very hyped. Honestly, didn't disappoint. Thought I was gonna like it, but I didn't think I was gonna really like it, but I actually thoroughly enjoyed this. Now, after reading 3 books with spice in it, like, you know, whatever people want to consider spice, reading 2 other books and then reading this one with a lot of spice, I actually cared more about the other scenes more than I cared about the spice. Don't get me wrong, I was like, okay, slay, like, cute, but I think I enjoyed the build up and her telling him the truth, because I was actually very wrong what I thought this book was about. It's basically just like this guy, he has a daughter, she's about 9 years old. The mother passed away and he just can't keep a nanny. She ends up working for him and living at his house. He's super rich. The little girl ends up loving her. Come to find out, so she has an OnlyFans account. She ended up deleting it because she was chatting with him the entire time. She ends up finding out because they both show each other their birthmarks or some scar they have, and she sees his and she's like, this is too much of a coincidence, this is him. She doesn't know why she was ghosted by him, and come to find out, at the time that she was ghosted, it was because the little girl lost her mother. Basically, he wasn't on OnlyFans for a few weeks, and so she thought that he just like ghosted her because they were supposed to meet up, and up until that point, she showed up to where he lived. They were supposed to meet up, and he ghosted her. He didn't really mean to ghost her. She ended up deleting her account, so he never got in contact with her, and then that was just it. She ends up babysitting, she sees the birthmark, and then she's too afraid to tell him because she doesn't understand why, like, she got ghosted and stuff. And then he ends up seeing it, and he tells her the truth and everything, or tells her, like, not really the truth, but, like, what went down wasn't, like, what she thought. Ends up being a happy ending. Of course, I love that. Some things. I don't have an OnlyFans, so correct me if I'm wrong. It's kind of just giving... This is kind of giving Love is Blind, honestly. I don't know if people actually form relationships through OnlyFans, if they have, like, a... Because basically he was just like a generous client, I think, basically. Like, he was just generous about the money and stuff, and they were chit-chatting and stuff. I don't know how many people actually form relationships, though. This is kind of giving catfish in a way. It's like, girl, why are we online dating? Like, people, we don't know what they look like. But at the same time, like, considering I just finished Love is Blind, it's giving Love is Blind. She fell in love with him and didn't even know what he looked like. And then come to find out, she ended up figuring out who he was, and she was like, oh my gosh, he's hot. That's crazy. Personally, I love a good breakup in a book. What I mean by that is I love, like, okay, the buildup happens, they kind of form a little relationship, and towards the end of the book, like the last 50 pages, something goes down. Basically, that happens in this book. I ate it up. I love when that happens, honestly, because it creates more tension. I love heat. I love some good heat, and I need something other than it just being lovey-dovey. It was very enjoyable, in my opinion. I think it lived up to the hype, actually. I really would rate this a 4 out of 5 stars, honestly. I actually really enjoyed this. It was really cute. It was really good. When the little girl Ubered to Cassie's house, and then she ended up driving her back to the dad's house, and then the dad sees her, and he, like, grabs her arm, and it's like, that's all you wanted to do was drop her off, because, like, the little girl, he was looking for his daughter, like, but then she was just like, yeah, I'm just here to drop her off, and he was like, that's all, and grabbed her arm, and I was like, oh my god, like, why am I eating that up more than the spicy? Like, that was so cute. Yeah, the spice in here, though, what, 3 peppers, I guess? I don't know how people rate that. I don't know what a lot of spice is and what isn't a lot, but there was at least 8 or 9 chapters. One critique, though, about the actual book itself, like the cover. This is the flimsiest book I've ever used, and not a fan of it. The paper is very thin. Like, yeah, the papers are thin, but like this is a little bit more sturdy than this, and I don't know why. It just and it just bothered me, the material of the book. But you know, you gotta do stuff on a budget. I will say the cover of the book would not have drawn me to this book, but don't judge a book by its cover sometimes. But I thoroughly enjoyed this book, and that is basically the end of the video. I'm gonna be starting this book, Hawthorne Legacy. I think my next video is going to be me reading the Inheritance games. I already read the first one. I have to read this one, Hawthorne Legacy and Final Gambit, and then I'm going to read Fourth Wing and Iron Flame. That's going to be the next reading vlog, and I'm going to try to get 2 book series done in 1 week. So if you guys enjoyed this video, please tune in a week from now and peep my next video. Also, please, if you have any recommendations, let me know in the comments below. Okay, bye guys.